A Russian playwright once wrote a rule. If you put a gun on stage in the first act, it must fire by the third. His name was Anton Chekhov. He was talking about theater. But he could have been talking about Europe. Because Europe just put 800 billion euros worth of guns on stage. And history has never seen a loaded stage that didn't end in a third act. This is March 2026. The European Union has announced the largest military buildup since the Cold War. 800 billion euros in new defense spending by 2030. Germany alone is buying 377 billion euros in weapons. Poland just passed its biggest military budget ever. France is bringing back compulsory military service. Denmark is spending over 3% of GDP on missiles and radar. And to pay for all of it, they're cutting hospitals, pensions, schools, and foreign aid. Oops, this is not a security story. This is a receipt. And the receipt is being paid by people who never ordered the meal. By the end, you'll understand three things. How a continent that spent 80 years building a welfare state is now dismantling it for weapons. Why the people who profit from this buildup are not the people who pay for it. And why a 72-year-old retired nurse in Munich is losing her pension so a tank can sit in Lithuania. Let's call her Helga. 72, retired nurse. 40 years in a Munich hospital. She cleaned wounds, held hands, worked double shifts through flu seasons and staff shortages. She retired 3 years ago with a modest pension and a promise. You worked your whole life. Now the system takes care of you. That was the deal. This week, Germany's economy minister said Germans must work more and longer. The retirement age may rise again. Hospital budgets are being cut. Nursing staff hiring is frozen. And Germany just announced 851 billion euros in new debt by 2029. Not for hospitals, for weapons. Helga worked 40 years to build the system. The system just told her to wait. Here is the mechanism. After World War II, Europe made a bet. Instead of spending on armies, it would spend on people, hospitals, universities, pensions, safety nets. Economists call this the peace dividend, the money you save when you stop fighting. For 80 years, that bet paid off. Europe became the most socially protected region on Earth. No war, more welfare. The exact trigger is debated, but Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 shattered the illusion. Europe had spent 35 years underfunding its militaries. NATO had a 2% of GDP target. Most never hit it. The United States, spending over 3%, was furious. Trump called Europeans pathetic freeloaders. Then he started pulling back. Now Europe is scrambling. And the numbers are staggering. The EU's Rearm Europe plan aims to mobilize 800 billion euros by 2030. That includes 150 billion in loans where countries borrow to buy weapons. Germany's shopping list alone is 377 billion, with 182 billion earmarked for German weapons companies. Defense investment across the EU hit 106 billion euros in 2024. A 42% jump in 1 year. Globally, military spending reached roughly $2.7 trillion. The steepest rise since 1987. Now here is the unlikely connection. What does a retired nurse in Munich have to do with a German tank in Lithuania? Same budget, same euro. Germany is stationing a permanent brigade in Lithuania. That brigade costs billions from the same federal budget that pays Helga's pension and funds her old hospital. When the tank budget goes up, something else comes down. Helga already knows what. And Germany is not alone. Britain increased defense spending to 2.5% of GDP. To pay for it, foreign aid was slashed by 40%. Finland cut aid by 25%. Belgium, same. The Netherlands plans to cut 2.4 billion in aid by 2027. Switzerland cut its aid budget explicitly for its military. A micro definition. Foreign aid is money rich countries send to poor countries for food, medicine, and infrastructure. That money is now buying ammunition. Here is the second definition, the peace dividend. It means the economic benefit of not fighting. For 80 years, Europe collected that dividend and invested it in its people. Now the dividend is being cashed out. And the payout is going to Rheinmetall, not to Helga. Because while hospitals shrink, weapons companies are having the best year in their history. Rheinmetall is scaling ammunition output by 30%. Leonardo plans 40 satellite launches by 2028. BAE Systems, Airbus Defense, order books at record highs. Defense stocks are soaring. The people building the guns are getting richer. The people paying for them are getting poorer. Oops. Helga sits at her kitchen table in Munich. Morning. Coffee, half finished. The newspaper is open to a headline about Germany becoming the strongest army in Europe. Next to it, an envelope from her pension fund. Adjustments, delays, recalculation. She paid into this system for 40 years. Night shifts, blood draws, bedpans, overtime. The system promised her rest. The system just said wait. Through the window, a Bundeswehr billboard. New recruits wanted. Her grandson is 19. Now the pushback. Russia is a real threat. Ukraine proved it. NATO needs deterrence. Europe cannot rely on America forever. Fair points. But here is the mechanism question. If the goal is security, why is the bill landing on a retired nurse's pension and not on a defense contractor's profit margin? Rheinmetall's revenue is at record highs. Its shareholders are celebrating. Helga is recalculating her grocery budget. The threat may be real, but the distribution of the cost is a choice. And that choice always lands on the same kitchen table. And here's what Chekhov would say. Every gun put on stage fires by the third act. Europe has never armed at this scale without eventually using the weapons. The first arms race gave us World War I. The second gave us World War II. The Cold War nearly ended civilization. Not once in history has an arms race delivered peace. Not once. The weapons were always used. The debt always grew. And the Helgas of every generation always paid the bill. Oops. 3 things to carry with you. Economic. 800 billion euros is being redirected from welfare to weapons. The peace dividend that built Europe's hospitals and pensions is being liquidated. Debt will rise. Social spending will fall. Defense companies will post record profits. Social. The people making the decision to rearm are not the people who pay for it. Helga pays. Her grandson may fight. The Rheinmetall CEO keeps his bonus. The stock price tripled. The price of eggs doubled. Guess which one Helga notices? War has never had a winning people. Not on the losing side. Not on the winning side. The wealth, as always, flows to a very specific few. That is the saddest part of the mechanism. It enriches suppliers. It buries everyone else. Global. Chekhov was right about theater. History proves he was right about nations, too. Every weapon put on stage eventually finds its war. The question is who pays the price of defense, and whether a continent that spent 80 years proving peace is profitable just forgot its own lesson. Remember the playwright's rule? A gun on stage must fire by the third act. Europe just put 800 billion euros worth of guns on stage. Helga is sitting in the audience, her pension letter in her hand, her grandson's recruitment poster on the wall. The first act just started. If defense spending is changing what your government can afford for you, you're not alone. What got cut in your country to buy weapons? Tell me in the comments. If this changed how you hear the word security, stick around. We follow the money, not the headlines.